All right, I'm here. You guys should be able to hear me. And that looks good. You guys should be able to see what I'm talking about over there. And yeah, I'm just kind of hopping on here, working on some stuff. I'm probably going to do some Stig remediation stuff and get some stuff ready for the course. So we've got more stuff coming up in the next few weeks around the Linux securities. So I have to keep working on that course stuff. And also, instead of just doing that, I'm also going to. What else am I doing? Yeah, just kind of hanging out. So if anybody wants to hang out, how's it going, Thevius? I am just kind of hanging out. And yeah, I got work all done. Oh, I do have. So since I'm missing on Wednesday night, me and some of the guys are driving out to California for a jiu-jitsu camp. We're going to be out there wrestling all weekend. And well, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I actually have to miss my Wednesday night class, but the professor's like, yeah, that's fine. The head professor, he's kind of like, yeah, that's fine, um, but you have to record all your stuff early. And I was like, all right, fair enough. And you might say, like, what do you mean, head professor? Well, because I've told you guys, we have this online modality where we have like, I don't know, 600 students, but then we have professors with each of them in kind of like their own little groups. And then we get all the students together one night, and each of the different professors talks about different topics. So my topic this week was supposed to be, I don't know, I've taught it so many times, but it's like, I think, actually, hold on, let me go look I can tell you guys what the topic is actually. Let me go look it up real quick. It's not like I got to review it. I just got to go re-record it. It is. Oh, it's a combined one. Hold on. Yeah, it's network architecture and network segmentation. So it's like virtualization and getting up into the cloud, and I do a little bit of subnetting with them too. So yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to talk about. TVS, yeah, you checked out the Linux course? Yeah, that, by the way, guys, anybody that wants to join that course, that's free. We don't charge you guys anything for it. This is our second time running it. We're getting pretty good at it. The guys put together a nice little book for you. So if any of you guys do want to join that, it's you just join the Discord and go down, look in Prolog projects, and you'll start to see there's already discussions up because we're in week 1. So you got to go in and you got to answer the discussions, and you've got to respond to things. And if you're like, oh, I'm lost, I don't know where to go, there are books for each of them, and the books walk you through all the pieces. So if somebody's lost and they're like, I don't know where to go, here's the exact things. I'm linking it to both of the chats. It's the exact thing you go do. You can join the Discord and then you look at that. And then which one did I just do? That was that's the security one I gave you guys. Hold on. Yeah, I just gave you the security one. The professional Linux administrator one is right here as well. So I'll link that to you guys as well. Yeah, Zorgal, do you need me to show you guys how to download that again? Is that what you need? Like about the Stig? Yeah, so the Stig tool, and we go into this. I have a recording for the unit one of the security course up there. But yeah, if anybody needs to see, this is kind of what you do. You go to the DISA Stig library, and in the no, we don't want the puppet one. In the DISA Stig viewer, you'll come here to I'll just go to stigviewer.com. What the hell's the Stig? We really just want the library. Yeah, here we go. All right, this is the link that you want right here. Don't worry about that Stig viewer stuff. That was other stuff unrelated. But anyways, it'll come down here, and this is one of these things we were talking about. Like, this is a managerial control or an administrative control. It doesn't actually stop anything from happening, right? It just gets you to approve or agree with something. And you go to the viewer here, and this is the viewer that you guys want to install, either the Windows or the Linux viewer, depending on which one you're using. I know that the Linux viewer works with, but I think we had it working with Red Hat and Ubuntu. So if other people are having problems, you know, you got to probably just go through their help type stuff to get it running, but you should be able to get those executing on your systems. There's some hashes with them, so if you need to download them and verify that they've got the right, there should be MD5 hashes in there. Actually, this one might have all the hashes. I don't know. Yeah, here's all the hashes. So SHA-256, SHA-384, and SHA-512. So there you go, in case you need to download anything and validate it. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I don't think anything of WSL. What I mean by that is, I never really thought anything of it. I have friends that use it. I don't use it because it's not a professional, like, you're not gonna find that out in the real world, like doing like enterprise Linux stuff. So I don't mess with it. I mean, is it good? Like, if somebody's got zero Linux, right, and they want to do something, WSL is better than nothing. But then once you are doing Linux and doing, like, you tell me, hey, I'm running a home lab in there, I'd be like, yeah, but you probably get a little more mileage doing, like, you know, a Red Hat or a Rocky somewhere in your home lab, because that's going to be more of what a company wants to look at. I don't think if you had WSL all over your resume that anybody would probably care. I mean, that's where I'm going with that. Is like all of the stuff that I try to do with everybody here is like, obviously, I mean, every time I open up a stream, everybody's telling me they're smarter than me and stuff, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's fine. You know, we got all the elite hackers that show up and stuff, but here's the thing, man. Like I said elite hackers, well, whatever. But the point is, yeah, I try to get people into doing this stuff professionally. So like, I'm telling you, like, go with the thing that's gonna get you that. And again, if you're doing zero Linux at all, I would start with something like WSL, but I would very quickly move out of that. And it wasn't around when I started, so I've literally never even thought of it. I've had some friends show it to me and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, it's fine. I don't know anything else about it though, so I stay away from it. Yeah. That's me. I stay just kind of off doing other things. Yeah. Okay. So, so I was asked about this. That's why I'm showing it. So you open up a Stig viewer, right? You download the Stig viewer. Then you have to download the Stigs. So let's say this week we did MariaDB. So you would get MariaDB. In other weeks we do Red Hat. So like this week coming up, we're going to be doing Red Hat. Red Hat. And we're going to be on Rocky 9, right? So Rocky 9 is, here should be the Stig benchmark. Yeah, for that. Now, we don't need the Ansible version 1 or anything like that. We don't need to pull that down, or the Puppet or the Chef, any of that kind of stuff. Although I might pull this down just to see what's going on in there. I don't even know what's in this one. We might pull this just to look at what's going on inside of this. I've never... By the way, I have my colors inverted, so this normally would be in white mode. Okay. Oh. Well, it looks like, hold on, it looks like they might have a, I'm actually kind of curious about this. What else is in here? Oh. I have, look at these tasks here. What's in this main.yaml here? Oh. Well, it looks like they've got a whole bunch of, checks for us. Now, I don't think they have fixes for us. What's the handlers? Let's go open the handlers, see what these look like. Yeah, they're just reloads and restarts. That's interesting, because I'm actually curious if this thing would try to... Let's go look at the tasks again. Let's see if this thing's actually going to try to remediate some of those. So, all right, hold on real quick. Oh, people definitely say it. Hold on. Let me see. I want to see. So it's doing Stig rules. These are all the Stig rules. These all do relate to the numbered Stigs. But let's just go see what's it doing. It's in check mode. No. It's going to use shell to do systemctl limit list unit files rather, and then it's going to grep for debug shell, and then it's going to disable it if that's interesting. Stig 9 rule, debug shell server. So you have, hold on, I think there's a variable file here. Hold on. That's actually interesting. I've never dug in on this, and it looks like this has, look at the files. Okay. There's a defaults file. Let's go look at what the defaults file looks like. Oh. Look at that. There's all the settings right there. That's I've never played with this one. I'm gonna make the guys play with this because this is gonna be, I'm gonna make them download this to automatically remediate these. Normally we generate them with OpenSCAP and run them that way, but this is I don't know what happened. I might have missed something. I think so. Anyways. All right. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. We're good. Hayes is here, and Z-Love. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not saying hi to everybody as you guys come in. But look at these values here. Like, you have all these values that you can turn on or off. Oh, look, these ones are the ones that are going to... Actually, this might be one of the best. When we get into the Stig rules... Yeah. So, hold on. Let me back up a second. This last week, we did a few MariaDB Stig rules, because MariaDB, as best I've seen, you can only do manually, right? When we're over here on MariaDB, there's no... Yeah, there's only the you can go view the Stigs and fix them. But on this one, what we're looking at here is you could set the Stig rule values, and honestly, like, looking at these as like somebody who's set values like this before, and I know some of you guys have set values before in systems, like... This is a much easier way for me to like review how my Stigs are going to be set than going through the Stig viewer. Does that kind of make sense? Like, look, I'm looking at all the Stig rules, their names, and whether, this is all of the, if you have you have to have an uppercase, it's one of those other, so you have to have all of these in there. You can't have more than 4 in a line. You can't have more than 3 repeating characters. You have to have at least all 4 classes, and you have to have the uppercase. You should have a lowercase, a digit, and special characters, but I don't know which one those are. Maybe they're the O credits. But that's like those are all the values that you'll go find if you go dig through your Stig viewer. But anyways, this is a much easier way to see this. Also, if you had other settings, you could build this as a custom file. I actually really like this. We're gonna use this as part of the lab. So watch this. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go find that. Hold on. So Red Hat Enterprise Stig Ansible, right? We're gonna grab real quick. We're gonna grab this. Where you at? Copy link address. Come over to our Linux box here, right? Go to like hammer one. It literally doesn't matter what hammer I go to. CD to. Let's hold on. I want to say one of these. One of these is. Shit. One of these is mounted as read. Oh, I have them both as read, right? Okay, I thought it was only that. Talons, I'm not going to do the security course again, but I did record it. So if you guys are in the Discord, we're starting we're in unit 1 for both of them. But if you go to beginner start here, I do have the playlist right here. So if you hop on the little YouTube, if you click right here, we've got the first of them all set up. Hayes, don't feel bad about not being good at Stigs, man. I wasn't good at Stigs until I started doing them either. So, yeah, I'm going to be recording them. I do want to remind everybody, next week, so this Saturday coming up, this Saturday, the 29th or whatever, right? I am out of town. So we are not doing, and I'm going to post this every day, And then I want you guys, like, normally I say don't make fun of people, but I do want you guys to come up here and say, Scott has reminded us every day this week of this string right here. Just reminding everyone there's no courses running on March 29th. So you get a free week for week 2. Week 1, do all your work. Week 2 will be a free week to think about stuff, and then we're going to come back hard on week 3, okay? Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to wrestle, Hayes. We're leaving. Me and the guys are leaving Wednesday night. We're driving out to California. Basically, it's like probably about 30 of us from around the country are convening. It's almost like our little seminar, like a couple times a year that we get together. Sometimes we're in California, sometimes we're up in Colorado, and sometimes we go down to Mexico. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be wrestling with a bunch of young guys. There's a couple of professional. I can't say pro wrestlers because that's not what they are, but they're like professional grapplers that are going to be there. Some of the younger guys that have won like Abu Dhabi, which ADCC is kind of like the Olympics of the submission grappling sport that I'm in. So there's going to be a couple of guys there that have won those. So it's going to be pretty good. And I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I'm just I wanted to show you guys this stuff and make sure you guys knew what we were working on. Okay. So let's go grab this real quick. So I just copied that, and we'll just do it locally first. So we'll just cd to root, clear the screen real quick, and make a directory for like Stigs. Doesn't matter. And then we'll do wget dash capital O, and we'll grab. Here's the file that we're gonna download, but right here we'll just call it. We can literally just call it this. Like a lot of times I'll just call something the same file name. It doesn't matter if you call something the same file name though. I hope you guys know that. If you download it off the internet and then you want to call it a red dog on your system, it doesn't matter. But this -o means that's the name of the output file. So we're going to pull that Stig off the Stig viewer right into our system here, right? And then we're going to unzip it because that's what it says it is. So we're going to unzip it. And then we're going to have these two things. So then we'll unzip the rel Stig Ansible zip, and we'll cd into. Let's look what we got. Okay. So that really should have been put in its own directory. So it's fine. We can go look at the stuff. Here's all our roles, and then here's our rel Stig. And then here's all the things. I was literally just looking at these things in my VS Code, but now here they all are right here. So here's our defaults. And they're a little less easy to read here because one, the screen's a little smaller, and two, over here, they're kind of color coded by key value pairs. So it's very easy to say like, oh, I don't know what this is, but it's definitely like a disk action full of halting on the system. So. Yeah, I'm just kind of running through stuff and showing you guys stuff. But man, this is actually really good because like if you ever wanted to know, like this one file right here, even though it's just setting key value pairs for us and showing us defaults, this shows us all the Stigs. I really do think I'm going to make you guys go through this next week because next week I already have not this weekend, right? The next weekend when we do lab 2, that's where it'll be. So. Ivan said, unrelated, what do you think about customizing your Vim editor for different colors like GrubVox? Do you care for this? Ivan, like, you're never going to find an engineer that's more vanilla than me. And what I mean by that is I've worked with a lot of engineers over the years, and a lot of them do a lot of stuff. I just work in this. But I will tell you, I mean, you got to do what gives you value. If I could put color in this, and if I had thought to do something like that, I would be able to parse this more quickly, and it would make me more efficient. Does that make sense? So like I tell people all the time, like I never tell you how your workflow has to work. I just kind of show you the way that I do things, and a lot of times I'm kind of a madman, so like I white knuckle a lot of stuff. But no, this would look better with color right here for sure. But I think I just moored it. Let's see if my Vim may have color in it. Yeah. So Vim will sometimes have some coloring, so I can see some of the stuff right here. And then and then let me show you guys something that's not exactly like a secret, but we'll call this like an open secret. When I stream, I put stuff in this. Let me show you guys something real quick. I normally look at stuff down at about sometimes 10, but I'm typically around 12, right? So like this is about where I normally look at stuff. But when I stream, And because of streaming, I've jumped this up a little bit, and also because I show a lot of people stuff at work, and I like walk people around through stuff. So sometimes I'll be 14 or all the way up on 16 for font. So it's a little easier for you guys to kind of see what's going on. But just know that I normally look at a much tighter screen. But colors and value coding, even though I'm colorblind, that still helps me kind of align. So that probably is good. But Ivan, I can tell you that's in Vim right there, and that's default. I didn't set any of that up. But I would say it's probably of value for some people. The one thing I think I've told you guys, like, even though I'm super vanilla, this is the one thing that you won't ever see me working without. See across the bottom of my screen there how my screen RC file is set up? I always want my screen RC set so that I know what's going on, and I can change these. I can change the titles along the bottom when I'm working on stuff. So just so you guys know. Tons, you got your contacts? Yeah, I actually, if you guys ever see me in contacts, it's typically because I wrestled that day, but I didn't get up this morning. I was too tired. I wrestle at 5 a.m. So, like, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is 5 a.m. for me. So, MB Study said, what's the learning website you use? Are you talking, I don't know. I need more context for that. We are doing stuff right now in our Stigs. So let me get out of here. Let's PWD CD. Let's capture real quick some of our notes here of what we just did. So I'm gonna go to my history. I'm gonna pull this up, and I'm gonna say more Stig activities for week 2, right? Actually, I can just go drop these right in there. But we're gonna grab. So we're going to cd to root, make dir like Stigs. We're going to cd to Stigs. And I'm kind of explicit about some of this stuff sometimes. Grab this. That'll be downloading that. We'll unzip it. There's this command here. Right? And then best case here, we would make a dir for like Ansible, and then we would copy what came out of there, which was this, down into Ansible, right? You don't need this trailing slash because you already made it, but that's fine. CD to Ansible, and then unzip that guy. And if I did that, right? This is the other way that it would be. Then now they would all be in here, and then I would have them all in one, like, tight little place, right? And then I would say examine the defaults for rel 9 on your system, and then this becomes super easy because then it's. I'm gonna do the full path, and you might say, why would you do the full path, Scott? Well, because I want to be verbose for people. Roles, defaults, wasn't it defaults? What was it in there? Oh, rel 9 Stig, and then it was defaults. Yeah. So CD into there, and then more, or at Vim. Vim will make it easier to read, right? The I guess I could just Vim from where I was, but that's fine. We'll just Vim the main.yaml. All right, perfect. So read those. Boom. Boom. Some of you guys have heard me say, like, I'll write my raw notes like this, and then we'll come back and clean them up later, right? But I just get the stuff out of there as I kind of run through it. So then we've been main, and these are all our values, right? Boom. And now when we're doing this, right? So this is why Stigs are let's say this is one of the reasons a tool like this would be valuable. Is I come over here, I'm going to close down, let's remove all filters. So I am on a rel, if I look at my Stig right here, I am on a Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9 Stig, right? And I'm not filtering by anything, so I've got everything up here. I am ordering it by the rule order. We could also make this bigger so we can see it, but I am ordering, I believe by vuln ID, so vuln ID is there. So right here at the top, They're talking 257,783. 257,783. Here's a value that needs to be set. It says that rel 9 system D journal D service must be enabled. You must be running system D journal D. Now, you are running journal D by default in rel 9 for sure, but let's say somebody had turned it off. So right here, it says in the event of a history or system failure, rel 9 must preserve any information necessary to determine cause of failure and any information necessary to return to operations with the least disruption to system process. Okay, to enable it, right? If it's enabled, or if it's not enabled, you need to enable it like this, right? So let's go look at 257,783. And it says right here that the state we would want it is yes, enabled, and state started. So it would start it, right? So what I might do on a system, though, if I were checking the system, again, there's remediation, there's checking. Sometimes we just do a report before and then we do the report after. Let's say I was actually remediating this system. I would do something like this. I would do a system status, system D, journal D, right? And I would see that it's running. And then what I would do is I would grab this right here. And this would be part of my finding. And then I would say, this is enabled. This is a pass. Now, some of you might be very astutely saying, well, that sounds like that's going to take forever to put not a finding across 401 things. Yeah, this is why we start with an automated scan. We don't scan, or we don't do 401, checks against the system. We run like an OpenSCAP tool and we get a report. And then the report allows us to import it into a checklist. So on this system, we're going to run, when we actually go to remediate these, we're going to run the SCC tool. So we'll download the SCC tool. Now, on the Hammer systems, I actually already have the SCC tool here. But then what has to happen, even though it's already in opt and opt is a shared location, what you need to do on your system, because your Hammer system won't have that, you have to do an rpm-ivh opt. I'm just going to do the full command, SCC and then SCC -rpm 5. There we go. Now this would install that on this system, who also again has that directory, because there's some other stuff that is in there, and some other libraries it needs for that to run right. Even though you do have everything that you need there in opt, and then we would run it. I missed everything. Yeah. Also, I like the other reason. One of the other reasons I like the CC is because I get stuff over on the YouTube side of things, and they message me and they say, "Hey, we're gonna translate this automatically into other languages for you, starting I think in May." And I'm like, "Okay, do whatever you guys want. I don't care," because these subtitles will still be in English, and I know that people sometimes like to watch things, especially like learning channels, where they can hear it in their own language and read it in another language. So like, 'cause some people, they're trying to get their English better, or they're getting, whatever, I don't know, whatever language they want to learn. But in my case, if you're watching my stuff and they translate, they're going to automatically translate the voiceover. So I'll be like a bad dubbed cartoon, right? And it'll be funny with it, trying to figure out some of the stuff I actually say. Anyway, so now we could scan this system, and we could see where the system is, and actually we'll pull out a checklist from our systems. Which actually, now that I think about it, I got to think of how to give you guys a staging area, because when you first jump in, you only have the access in the MC Hammer system. You only have the access to jump in and then go do whatever. What I might do is maybe give an access where you guys can pull files back. I mean, technically you could push files back, like if you know where your home is or whatever. So, sorry, was that yeah, the website that I mostly use. Sorry, I'm missing stuff over on YouTube. If people are like, what? There's a site called Killer Coda. I do think this is the best site on the web for people to learn how to do a lot of, especially command line stuff. But I'll link this if that's what you guys were talking about. I apologize for that if I missed that. But yeah, Killer Coda is a great site for learning stuff. We maintain about 60, I think we're about 65 labs between me and Fisherman. So Fisherman's stuff is on here too. I always link his stuff because he's got really good labs in here around being a systems administrator, and then also like running your own little local LLM if you've never done that before, he'll show you how to do it. So I'll link this to you guys as well. So, okay. We've got all that. This was our talk yesterday about how the web page works. Different stuff here. How's Ranger doing? Oh, did you guys notice? So Ranger's got new carpet. He's the carpet doesn't slide around as much, and then he's still got the old carpet. The old carpet's over to the side, but he's got a lot more area that he can walk on without sliding. Oh, there's Ranger right there. Look at him. Right as the camera stopped working. Oh, no, it's back. Okay. There's Ranger's just standing around like a... I think he's got like doggy dementia or something, because like he just stands and looks at stuff sometimes. He's a pretty good dog though, but man, he's getting old. Guys, he's getting old. All right, anyways, he's a good dog. If you guys can see him over there. Oh, Ranger. But he's so slow, he's so old. As my camera freezes up again. But he does like the new, we got him this new little carpet. It's old carpet from upstairs that just, we figured before we threw it out, yeah, we love Ranger dog. He's again, he's so old. He's lost a lot of weight too. He was a pretty big dog. He's not little. Keep an eye on him. Go check out his beds. All right. We won't bug Ranger too much. All right. So anyways, over here, we would run our right, and then we would config. I think it's config would work, but excuse me, configure might also do it. Yeah, there. Oh, nope. Hold on. Config. That's what we want. Yeah, apparently configure's not going to do it. And then we would run that. ASAS said, systems administration is building a NAS server considered as a project. I mean, if you're doing Linux, if you're doing command line Linux and you're installing stuff, I'd say that's, yeah, I would call that like a server project. Yeah. As long as you're doing stuff that's Linux related, and then you can tie that back into like how that's going to help you do stuff for a business. Because guys, at the end of the day, like the business only wants to know two things about you. Business is only looking for two things in an interview. Can you do the job, and will you do the job, right? Those are the two things that they're kind of, oh, I didn't even think about cataracts. He's so old, like how he stands and just like how he lays down and stuff. It takes him a long time to do stuff. Hold on. Oh, we're gonna creep on Ranger for a second. Oh, he's gonna pick that bed. Oh, there he is. Cause he likes to put his nose on the wall where it's like cool. Not bumping into things, Robodom. He just looks at things. Like he'll stand there, and I know his hearing's going because the other day, somebody knocked on the door, and I came down, and so he heard that, and he went and looked at the door, and then I went and got the thing from the door, and I was coming around the other way before he saw what was going on, because I heard him coming. I could hear him clacking his little toes. His nails are getting kind of long. But anyways, I came around, and then I was like 5 feet behind him, going like, Ranger, what? Like the door's closed. The vent over there is done, and I was like, Ranger, what's going on? And I didn't want to like get too close to him and scare him, because like he obviously didn't know I was behind him. And I'm like, Ranger, and then he finally like he looked at me and he was like, oh, it's you. And then he like came over to me, and then I was like petting him and stuff. But yeah, he just doesn't. He's not super coherent anymore. But we love him. He's a good dog. All right. So if I were to scan this box, right? These scans take a while, so I don't know if I'm going to make you guys scan the whole system, but you guys have seen, some of you guys have been around or done even some of the labs where you can come in and you can remove all these other types of Linux that we don't need. So we only have the RHEL 9. And then you would come in and you would say, always scan. Oh, right at the top, run all SCAP, regardless of applicability. We always want that, right? And then I would hit 0, and I would say go ahead and 0, and then I would say 9, exit and scan everything. I want you to scan this whole system, right? And then now this, I think I want to say, oh, and actually sometimes this breaks on here, so I wonder if, we'll give it a view and we'll watch it, because it shouldn't be doing too much stuff, but I think for some reason this is broken before. So this will be a good check right here. I think this will be a good check. Yeah. I mostly just yell Ranger, but so Ranger's had a habit even before he started losing his hearing. Like he's had a habit the last few years, and this has been a joke of mine where like he'll look at me and I'll be like, Ranger, get out of the way. What are you doing? He'll just be laying in the middle of everywhere, and I'll be like, get out of here, go get out of the way, and he'll look at me and be like, I lived a good life. Just kill me. Just I'll take whatever punishment you give me. And I'm like, Ranger, like just, and then I'll have to like walk around him, stuff in my hands and stuff. He'll just be laying there, and I'm like, God, Ranger. But he's a good dog. He just doesn't care about a lot of stuff. So he doesn't care to be a good a security dog either, like a guard dog. But he does his work. He guards everything within his limits of his post and quits his post only when properly relieved. So that's good. Which he's never actually relieved because he's the only guard dog. But all right, we'll go back to watching Ranger here. Systems good. We have this. We know how we're going to pull down some more Stig activities for the guys. The rest of the lab I already have set. The lab for next week, or yeah, in a week, is already kind of long. I think I closed it. Hold on. Where'd that lab go? Oh, gotta go back over here. Let's go to our Linux stuff. Linux group. Security engineering, week 2. I'm just building them as we go, right? Here's our lab. Here's our lab. Let's go check our lab out real quick. Same kind of stuff we're already doing. Right, same stuff we're already working on. I need to do some exercise, some warm-up exercises. So those exercises might have to do with maybe I'll already have that down. No, maybe I'll just make you guys pull it down. We don't necessarily have to do exercise. Might be as good still though. This is so week 2 is about securing the network. So the Stigs are around securing the network, and I've already grabbed a bunch of Stigs for that and put this stuff together. But what I might want to do is also have us look at, yeah, that would probably be really good. Because, let me show you guys something here real quick. Shoot, I'm going to have to stop this to show you guys. Let's grep sysctl, let's sysctl from main.yaml. Here we go. Let's go look at these Stigs. So I'll show you guys something. We've talked about this before, and I said sometimes you need to find where something is in a file. So let me show you guys this, because some of you guys had probably missed it the other day. Let's just let's number line main.yaml, and then do that same search. So we were grepping for sysctl, and now I know that it starts around the 346, maybe like the 342, right? That's about where those rules start as far as those numbers. So then if I vi my main.yaml in here, and I just go to, I think it's like G412 or something like that, it should jump me down, right? Something like that. But anyways, here's the values. Here. So here's the value that it will be writing into that file, right? And oh, you can also set number, and then you should see that you're on there. Also, I can do sysctl, right? And just jump down to whatever one. There were these few down here, and then when we got up to the 400s, yeah, that's where they mostly started. It was right here in the 400s. Yeah. But what I wanted to show you guys is here's the values that are being set, which might be a good thing to review. Maybe it'll be like post-lab stuff. Yeah, but here's most of the values. Here's the ones for all these different Stigs here. The different values that it's going to set for kernel perf event and kernel kexec and kptr. That's the pointers and the hard links and the sim links being protected and all those types of things that you set in your basic default, right? Anyways, so you see them all in there. Oh, what happened? Small dogs, visual problems, can't be afraid. Being between two legs, skirt scarves, it can be frightening. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Ranger is just, yeah, he's old. I think he's, oh, where'd he go? He also really likes the cool in the morning. He likes to go outside in the morning. Ranger's got a big doggy door. I'll take a picture of it sometime. Most adults could probably almost squat down and do a duck walk through Ranger's doggy door. Maybe not most like American adults, but most adult, like especially if you turn sideways and like duck walk through. He's got a huge doggy door, so he's always been like pretty happy with it. But the last like probably last few months, he's struggled to like get up into it because it's a little higher up on from the house. So like we've put pavers down, and he's got kind of got like a little ramp, like a little Minecraft ramp to get up into the house. But yeah, I'm surprised he's wandering right now. He spends most of his day sleeping. So yeah, he's got a huge doggy door roped up. Probably the biggest one I've ever seen. That's made specifically for dogs. It's probably the biggest doggy door I've ever seen. So I'll take a picture of it so you guys can see. Yeah, he's a pretty good dog. Well, and Ranger, like sometimes we have family, like so we have family that'll come over sometimes and they'll be like, hey, do you want us to bring our, similar dog to Ranger or our smaller dog than Ranger? And we'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. So like sometimes Ranger will show people around, like other dogs around the yard and stuff, and they tend to get along pretty well. He gets along with other dogs pretty good. He's never been a super social dog though. Like we never really took him to dog parks or anything. That was never really his thing. But he always had a cat friend for a long time, his cat buddy Noel, but Noel passed away a while back. So anyways, all right. Let's what are we doing here? Oh, I'm still prepping more labs and stuff. But yeah, if you guys have questions about the course is coming up. We're running it right now. So if people want to get in there and start working on it, looks like people are actually doing discussion posts as I'm in here. You just go here and prolog projects and it'll get you started on each of the discussion posts. And if you're like, well, I don't know what to do in the discussion posts, well, that's what the books are about here. These free books they kind of lead you through the course. Now, the second one right here isn't all put together yet. We're still building it kind of as we go, right? The course is being built, but it shows you what we're doing in the security course. And it's all about securing Linux. That's what we're working on. So, all right, I'll leave that up over there. I'm back over here. I was checking. So this will be fun. Let's run. I'm curious. What does the site.yaml want to do? It wants to run against localhost. Okay. There's an ansible.cfg. It wants to have Stig. It's got these callbacks enabled. So let's go look at I saw that there were callbacks in here. What's this Stig thing gonna do? Is this gonna write us out a checklist? It's gonna go grab. So this has to be able to call out, because we see right here that it's gonna go check. So it's gonna download this. I'm actually really curious if this is gonna generate a oops, CD. Excuse me. That's if you want to run it and enforce it, right? And then so playbook. Let's do. We're gonna do -C, right? We want to check. Actually, I think it's -cap-C for check. Let's see, and then site.yaml. I'm curious. I think there might be one more thing we need. Oh god, take away that calce. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens here. This should just be checking. Also, just please ignore the cows. I don't put calce on there on purpose. I'm curious to see if this gives me a nice result. Yeah. So Tons, there's a the sysadmin course teaches like the basics. This is this one here. So I wouldn't call any of our courses basic, right? Like I kind of assume if you're hanging out with us, like anybody that's hanging out in our Discord probably does some Linux. Like I probably don't have to show you PWD, LS, and CD. Like you know how to move around in a Linux box. Maybe you run a box or two. maybe even run WSL. I wasn't trying to shit on WSL earlier. I was just saying I don't necessarily run it for anything. Oh, look here, we've got things busted. Well, because we don't have grub.conf, which makes sense. So there's no grub on this box. So then we'd have to go fix this to finish. But anyways, where I'm going with that is I would say that this is the more basic one. But even this one assumes that your goal is to move into being a system administrator in a company. And what we do is we show you things in the context of doing this for a company. Right, here's the major instructional areas, the things you work on, what our course objectives are, and then kind of walk you guys through it. So I wouldn't say anything we do is really beginner. Like if you were like, hey, Scott, I've never touched Linux before. I want to start touching Linux. I would send you right here. I would send you right here and say, just start here. For somebody that was brand new, either my Linux labs or any other Linux labs that are on there, these are free. They don't cost you guys anything on Killer Coda. And it would drop you like this right in a shell. Excuse me. And in the shell, you would be able to figure out the start of Linux. You haven't done any Linux before. You would drop in here, and I made that bigger so you guys can read it. And it would say, you are a new systems administrator company. You've been tasked with finding out information about a set of servers that has very little to no documentation on it. You find yourself at a command prompt. Yep. And need to find out what type of system you're working on. So boom, starting out. And then what is the release and version number of the system and a bunch of things. So maybe you can look those up. But then we got a little solution down here that'll just, you'll hit a button and it'll just tell you, okay, if you had typed cat etc splat release, we would know that we're on Ubuntu 2004.5 long-term support. And then if I did a uname-r, again, I highly recommend people type it, uname-r, then you would see the kernel version that you're on, right? And then cat proc cmd line shows you the way that the system was booted as it was called from the Grand Unified Bootloader version 2, which is what the system uses, right? I know that because of right here, we've got grub. And, oh, maybe we're using grub 1. Right? Oh, and then if I really need to, I can say apt or dpkg -l grep for like grub, right? And then just see what grub's on here. And yeah, it looks like we are using grub version 2. Yeah, so we're using Grand Unified Bootloader version 2. And how did we know that? Because we did some commands and type stuff, right? There we go. Yeah, so we focus on, in the course, we focus on like what you're going to do. And we talk about like what you're going to run into and the way that your tickets are going to come in from other people in your company, other engineers and architects and managers and all that kind of stuff, and how to resolve those. We do troubleshooting because troubleshooting is really big. Grepping around for grub is, yeah. So grub's great. It used to be Lilo back in the day, but now it's mostly grub. I don't think I've run a Lilo installer 15 plus years. Professionally, I don't know if I've ever seen one, but I haven't run one myself for probably over 15 years. Lilo is the old way. Anyways, yeah, and then it walks you through everything, different stuff that we're doing. All right. So, anyways, that's the book, and then people that want to contribute to it, they're actually working on putting contributors in here. So people that help, they show you how to work in the GitHub, and then they get you, get you working on the book, and then show you how to do pull requests and stuff, and then they're going to put contributors' names in here. So yeah. Well, hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. That's the goal, right? Get this stuff, build this in a way that works for you guys, and hopefully keeps you guys doing this stuff. Get in there professionally, right? That's the goal. Get you guys doing this stuff professionally. All right. Hopefully I answered that question earlier, though. One of the things we were talking about was for people that are doing the security course. If you missed it, there is a recording. But yeah, you got to get this viewer. This viewer's bright, I know. And then you have to go and you have to start to work through some of the labs for week 1. So there's some labs, and we do specifically MariaDB in week 1. and I show you. So now we're hardening a service so that a service adheres to the best practice around the different types of controls, right? And we talked about controls and the way that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, pull request. Actually, those guys do pull requests, and then they meet and they do every Saturday. They've been meeting and doing their kind of their reviews of things. So, yeah. I hope the security course is good for you guys. We're we're running that free. We want people to do this stuff, and we have a big course project for that. That's kind of like you're just doing this as though you're a consultant for a company. Yeah, so kind of you don't like I tell everybody you guys don't have to give anything, but there are the guys convinced me to open up my GitHub. We have 2 GitHubs. Right? There's my GitHub, which is the labs, the basic labs, and then we have the other one. Where's that other one? I don't even know. It's the professional Linux users group one, but I have to figure out how to go get into there. Yeah, this one. This is a longer one over here. This one is supposed to be getting set up where you guys can do, because I know the guys were talking about, hey, some people want to contribute, and I said, all right, I don't know how to do any of that, but this is getting set up for sponsors, and I think they're actually putting that in. So for people that want to do sponsorship, something, I don't know. It's they're working on it over there, but because we got a couple of the guys that are kind of like managing that, and then you guys can go look at this kind of stuff. So, and it's slowly coming along. It's got 16 followers, and then it's got YouTube and stuff. So, this is the link if anybody needs that. So, link that over there. So, yeah. But I tell you guys that like nobody has to contribute, but if you guys want to, that's going to be opened up with like people that do. It's like a subscription type thing, but I don't know. Like you can just toss a nickel in there or something like that. All right. I don't do as much with that side of things. I've been writing a lot of the content, and then I just give it to the guys, and they've been kind of filtering it all down for me. So it's good to have, we have a lot of people that are very involved with this on the backside of this stuff. Where do you process lab? Well, there's a few places that labs get processed around here. If you just go and do Killer Coda, those are just free labs out on the web. Those are run by a guy named Kim Woostekamp, and he runs all of that stuff. He's the same guy that does all of the testing for like the Linux. So if you take a CKA, a CKAD, or a CKS, it's all through his systems, right? Like all that stuff is like he processes a lot of that. Ranger's back on his bed, it looks like. But those are free lab environments for people to use. If you're taking the course and you're like, hey, I want to give these to Scott at the end and have all the labs done, you would probably either do them there, or you would jump up. We have a home lab or our ProLug lab environment, which is my home lab environment. And that lab environment is, I don't have a drawing. I have a drawing of it, but I have to get rid of this drawing. Let me just save this drawing real quick. Which disk, which file is this? Hold on. This was website deploy, right? Let me wipe this canvas real quick. Whoops. Reset the canvas. Also, this is a great tool. If you guys have never played with Killer Coda, or Killer Coda is a great one, but Excalidraw. This tool right here is awesome. Excalidraw just, let's see if we have home lab logic drawing. I think it's this one. Yeah. And then you guys have been drawing all over this thing. So, this is, actually I have this. This is the most updated this is right now. Yep. So this is how people get in. They get in, they go through prolug.asuscom.com. Actually, why do I not have that down here? Hold on. I thought I had the Bastion connection. I need to give me a second here. Hey, thanks for the Prime Savage Skills. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Let me drop this down here. Make that a little bigger. Super annoying. Alright. So fucking annoying. That little thing popping up on the left is like the bane of my existence. So annoying. Alright, let's get this out of the way. And then we'll copy this. And the way you come in on here is actually just come in on that as Prologue Asus. And you're either as Streamer 1, and that is the admins. They're Streamer 1. And then the other guys, they come in as MC Hammer. And that's what they picked, guys. They literally, and that's the security course. And those guys, the security guys, get jailed and tossed into the MC Hammer range, and then Streamer 1 guys get dropped. So there's 19 Rocky boxes and there's 25 Hammer boxes in the environment. So I don't know if I missed anything. Yeah, I think Excalibur is great. I think this is one of the best because there's a thing. Watch, I'm going to save this real quick. I'm going to say save it to a current file, save it, that's fine. And then I'm going to share this here with anybody that wants to be on here, right? I've already got my changes saved, but I can then go like this and I can drop it with you guys over here on Twitch. Now, if you, Twitch pulls the link out, so you actually have to copy it yourself. You can't just click it out of link. But you guys can be in the same one with me right now. And people could start drawing or moving stuff around. And most importantly, if you clicked on and got in here, you could go and you could save it for yourself on your own system. There's some differences, Robodom. Yeah, there's definitely some differences. They are, they don't have all the, hold on. They don't have all the extra disk space on them. They only have 120 gig disk on there. They don't have, what else don't they have? That's mainly it. They also don't have the cool banner. So for you guys that have been in Rocky servers, boom. The Rocky servers have the cool deb. Yeah, that's called Excalibur. I just linked it. I just linked to this one. You guys could be in this. But you guys could have a copy of this if you wanted. As long as I don't save whatever changes are put on here now, it doesn't matter. Like people drew these, right? These got drawn on, these got drawn on. You guys can do stuff. But yeah, this is called Excalibur. It's one of the best things on the web, man. And they're open source, so you can run them locally. You can even put, if you guys like logsec, they're built right into logsec. So I'll pull up logsec here real quick. It might be bright mode. I don't know why this comes up in, like, this will not stay in dark mode for me. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? I thought I opened it. There it is. It will not stay in dark mode for me. So I got to put it in dark mode. So come here. It just, again, this always comes up in light mode every time. And then where I was going to show you this is if you went here, and I showed this the other day, in fact, you could just free and open source, and then you could just start, you can say, I want to have a drawing. And then when you hit that, it'll build an Excalibur right here, right in there. I probably could, Tons. I mean, it's inside of a, yeah, I don't even know how they, I guess I could probably figure out the launch, exactly where it's launching from. But, all right, so anyways, this is the, yeah, this is what's happening in the environment. Everything moves through this little C router box, and C router keeps track of things, and then you guys that have been around know that we have like extensive kind of logging going on, right? We've got logs here where anybody getting themselves kicked out forever, if so, like people trying to connect in from Streamer 1, make sure you know the password. If you don't know the password, you can get yourself locked out forever, because then we have all the bans, right? Where's my security stuff? Then we've got all the bans. These are the people, 50K people that have banned themselves forever out of our servers, right? So these are some of the things that we keep track of in the lab in that environment. So okay. Ty, are you logged out? Or are you locked out from this weekend? You can message me directly on Discord for people that got themselves locked out. Just let me know, and I'll go fix it, because I have the steps to fix it. Yeah. In fact, what I would do first is I would check and make sure you got locked out, because you only get put in lockout if you did it 5 times, you know, I think in a span. I think there's a span of time, and then after that you'll get locked out forever. So, yeah, all right. So by the way, we just hit an hour. Let's go hit. Yeah, that's our professional links users group. You guys can get involved in that if you want. Again, the guys are kind of running this. They're using it to show people how to do stuff. We have other stuff going on down in Discord too. Just let me give a shout out here to like Salty. Salty Catfish is running this. He's making this little slingshot system. So I know some of you guys are working on that with him. I haven't seen him online in a little bit, but I know he's been working on it. He does stream, so if he gets that to come up. Oh, you were having the DNS. Some of you guys were having DNS issues and couldn't even get to the system, huh? I remember that. Yeah, I remember we didn't ever get down to the bottom of that, did we? Because I think 1.1.1.1 wasn't resolving us, and I think 8.8.8.8 wasn't as well. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. But message me and I'll get in there. Yeah, message me and we'll figure it out. I think somebody had the right one that would show you guys how to move around in there, or sorry, they had the right one for you to resolve your DNS off of. I don't remember though. You guys gotta remember in. This weekend, I intended to do 1 hour of the Linux course, the Linux sysadmin course, and then take a break for an hour, and then go into the security course, right? And then I looked, if you guys were around, I looked up at an hour and 40 minutes in the Linux sysadmin course, and I was like, oh gosh, I've been talking. I went way longer than I intended to, but we did get a lot of stuff. We went through a lot of stuff, and I went like way over the time that I wanted, because I want to typically get them right at about an hour. I think when I first recorded them, I was going a little over an hour or two. But it's one of these things where it's like, there's a lot of stuff to show, right? There's so many things to kind of go on. Yeah, Cloudflare. Yeah, I use a... is that Asus? Yeah. It's I have an Asus router that just does DDNS. And then I don't know where that's linked up to. Oh, that's what it was. Somebody set their DNS, their name server that it was searching for off of one of the Asus.com. I think they just found where Asus was being resolved off of. I think they did something like, I'm not sure exactly what people were doing. I think they did something like this. And they found authoritative. What is it? Host. Yeah. I think they did something like this, and then they said, okay, there's where mail's handled if you're doing mail with them. Where did they find it? I don't know which one. I didn't ask it. I don't remember. Somebody said it, but it should show where. Did we get the... I don't see it. Yeah. But anyway, so they went and they found... we're going to go catch up to... Yeah, if you want to start the sysadmin course or the security course, just go start in the beginner start here section of the page. And there's really two places I would start. Go to our Discord. And here is the Linux sysadmin course. These are the recorded ones. And I'm not recording them each week now because we already have all the recordings. So technically you could just go watch all the recordings back, right, all the way through. But then the projects, the Prologue projects page here will give you all of the stuff that we're kind of doing, where there's discussions, because you got to get involved with the discussions if you want to be doing the course with us. The reason I do that is much like with a college class, if you want to kind of keep your mind thinking about things and work on stuff. It's kind of like if I was like, hey, I want to get big and jacked and go to the gym and get all strong, but I'm only going to do it once a week. Most of you guys would be like, yeah, Scott, you're probably going to have to go spend at least a little bit more time, like a few times a week. And I know they say like 3 or 4 times a week, but I'd say really if you want to hit your goals, you're probably doing like 6-7 days a week, right? Maybe you're taking a rest day or something. But my point is come in here, and then here's the project book. And I have the project books up here as well. And I know Robodom's been linking them for you guys as well. Yeah. So the other thing too is like I tell people like I've been doing this a long time, and every time like I run a class or we do something like this, I pick stuff up from people. Like I pick up stuff that we're doing the security course, right? And one of the security discussions deals with this is the question right here. I'll show you guys the question. In the security course, it deals with what's security, like so this philosophical question, what is security? And I say describe the CIA triad. Most of you can do that off the top of your head, right? And then I say, what is the relationship between authority, will, and force as they relate to security? And you go, he sounds like a judge or something, right? No, these are real security questions to think about when you go to place what types of controls are there. So there's controls around a system, right? They're right here. I got them right here. There's technical controls, there's physical controls, and then there's administrative controls, right? So then the control types are preventative, deterrent, detective, corrective, compensating, and directive. So now you go and you look at those and you go, okay, a technical preventative control stops you from doing something. Like if you can't SSH properly into my systems by putting in the correct password, that is a technical preventative control. However, if I put in a technical control that when you guys SSH in, no matter what password you put in, you get in, that would just be a detective control. Like let's say it allows you in, but then it just logs it. And it logs, hey, that dude had a bad password, but I let him in anyways. And I'm like, well, that's a technical detective control because it'll allow me to go see what happened later, but it doesn't help me right now. Then if I put a banner up, there's like a technical, I put a banner up to let you guys know that you're in like, if this didn't say, maybe this said, ooh, you're in Scott's server, or you should be really, really scared because bad things will happen if you mess with the server, right? Something like that. If I said that there instead of just saying dev, right? Because isn't that what all the government systems do? They give you this banner. That is a technical deterrent, right? It's been technically implied, and it's a deterrent. Now, you say, what are these other ones? Well, physical will physically stop people. So like a physical preventative control is a wall. But could you go around that wall? Maybe you can get over an 8-foot wall. I don't know if everybody could, but some of us could still, right? But if it was a physical, if it was a camera, cameras are detective controls, like a security camera up on a light. And some people would call them a deterrent, but most other people would say, well, only if you see them, though. Only if you know the cameras are there is it actually a deterrent. So most people don't consider cameras an actual deterrent. But lighting, keeping your shrubbery around your business clean, keeping your windows from being busted on your building, all of those things are considered physical deterrent controls, right? And then there's so anyways, my point is there's all these things, right? We're not really yeah. Well, look, that's the idea, and this is what we were talking about, and this is what people got into, right? And this is this is why it's so good to have these discussions with people. I'm sitting here telling you guys, and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, these guys were talking about the last day, right? And last almost 2 days now. Well, they get into it's almost like there's a line painted on the ground, and if I respect your authority, I don't go over that line. But if I go, he's not around, and I just step over the line, and you say, well, why would that matter? Well, what if I have a lot of administrative controls, or in that case, managerial and operational controls? I train my users so they don't do stuff, and I give them standard operating procedures to not do stuff. And then when the user comes up to a problem, they go, well, just this one time, I'll do a go-to in my code. You guys ever see that? There's an old, I think it's an XKCD. Go to in code. What could happen? Anybody know what happens? Anybody know what happens when you write a go to in your code? You get attacked by a velociraptor. He literally gets attacked by a velociraptor. So yeah. This is an old XKCD if you guys didn't know. But yeah, this one problem I could solve with this one little quick thing, and it's like, nope, you're gonna cause too many problems in the end. Just hit him with a velociraptor. This was I just remember that. That was so funny to me. That's from an old XKCD, and if you guys don't follow XKCD, they've got a lot of good lessons on systems in general, right? Where was I at? Anyways, I wasn't trying to talk about that and like teach you guys that stuff. I'm just saying that's what the course was about. There's this other security discussion going on too, which by the way, guys, one of the things about academia and like learning, when you're not just talking strictly like being engineers and being out in the field building stuff, in academia, people don't always agree on things. So we have to have a way to butt heads and argue that is healthier than just no you're stupid, no you're stupid, right? We can't do that like well, right. So what I have you guys do here is find a Stig that you don't agree with. Find one that you're like, I don't think that's necessary. There's some that I think are stupid. But the point being, do I understand what category and type of control it is? Do I understand what that means and what are the implications of leaving it out in my system, right? And then guys went through and they started figuring out, what people are sitting here talking about. I want you to do one, and all the way in discussions, you always do one discussion post, and then you do one response to someone else, right? So, and by the way, then you'll pick things up that like other people say, or this is what I was saying earlier. Like for me, I learned the way that I learned, and I'm kind of set in my ways. But when I teach people things and show them stuff, people are always coming up with stuff I never thought of, and I'm like, oh, that was pretty good. And then I just silently steal it and throw it in my toolbox because this is the way, right? This is how we get better as an engineer. I could either experience every single thing ever. I can't do that. It would take forever. Or I could work with other people kind of in like, knowledge sharing and we can get better at this kind of stuff. And that's what I kind of do there. So use Terraform with Proxmox provider was 2.9.11. Download the OS image separately and load it as a template. And then you can Nice. I probably missed some of that. But I probably missed some of the chat. Sorry guys, I'm down here like doing other stuff. I'm off in my own world today because the wife is doing Indian food with some people, and then she's coming home later. So she said I was on my own for dinner. So I got to figure out what I want for dinner tonight. Can't do Jimmy John's again. Last time I said something like we were all hanging out down in Discord a few weeks ago, and the guys had me order. Like, have you guys ever seen, like, you guys know what Jimmy John's is? They got, like, their subs. But I ordered a double sub, and it was a chicken bacon ranch with, like, it had ranch all over it. And the thing on there, it was a $21 sub, guys. It might have been, like, I don't know. But anyways, it was 2,100 calories. And, like, and then I ate the whole thing and almost died. I just was, like, here in a coma when the wife came home. But it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. But it was a good sub though. I mean, I'll give them that. They did good on the making the sub. It's just the consequences of that. Yeah, Robodom, it's basically like a whole day's worth of calories if you've worked out in one meal. And I had eaten a meal already too. When I was the GTA, I didn't teach so much as enforcing my Iron Fist of Doom upon dear students. Yeah. I don't know, Hayes, if you've heard me talk about like dealing with my students, and I'm like, I gotta go yell at my students. Got to go yell at my college students. And then people are like, you yell at your college students? And I'm like, yes. And do you know why I yell at my college students? Because they're not going to yell at themselves. We have a place by me that does chicken tiki masala. Oh, and which is basically butter chicken. I love it. Look, I'll show you guys. Hold on. I'll show you guys. There's a place right here called Wraps and Curry. Love ordering from Wraps and Curry. Yeah. They're pretty solid. This is their little spot. The lady that works the register is about as tall as that counter. When you're sitting down in a chair, she's as tall as you. I don't even think this lady's 5 feet tall. Very tiny, but their food is so good. We used to always do their wraps and curry, right? We would do their chicken curry with rice. They have like the long rice, but now we do all the me and the wife always do chicken tiki masala there. And she had offered, she's like, I'll bring some to you. And I was like, nah, I'll just go stream and I'll hang out with the guys. But you know what I do need from here though? What I don't know from there is I don't know a good hold on, I think they have a menu. I don't know like a good appetizer from there. I think I've tried cottage cheese with bell peppers. I think I've had the samosa chole. 2 fried pastry style stuffed with potatoes, green peas, served with seasoned garbanzo beans. That just sounds like a lot of starches and stuff. But yeah. So I have never had anything here that's not like, this is my favorite Indian food place ever. I've eaten like Like I've eaten a fair amount of like Indian like all you can eat buffets, and like I've got a few Indian places here in Arizona that are near me, but I've never had a place that I like as much as this anywhere. Anywhere. I mean, I've been all over the U.S. and I've had. I don't go out of my way for Indian food, but I've had Indian food all over, and this is my favorite. This place right here, and their bread, man, their naan bread. Oh, like I always get the because you can get the fried rice or the naan, or sorry, the long rice or the naan. And I just get them both. Like just give me both of them. What is it called? Hold on. What is it? The blue. Here's the appetizers over here. Had Indian today. I could go get Indian food if I wanted. Well, I mean, I think they have to put the menu in English for us, right? Because we're Americans. But I can tell you that the samosa. Okay, okay, I'll try that. I think I've had these too. I actually like bell peppers in some instances, so that might be good too. And I don't know what tandoori is, but I just know everything there is good. So, tiki paneer. I'm gonna tell the wife we're just gonna order all this next time we go in there. We'll just order all the appetizers, and then just they know us in there, but they'll still look at us like, "Are you really just gonna eat all the appetizers?" And I'm gonna be like, "I just want to try your appetizers and see what you want." But yeah, when people come in town, we go pick this place up. When we have like, because me and the wife sometimes will have like one or two other it's weird married couples hang up with other married couples, right? But we'll have like two married couples over and we'll do like games and stuff. And I always get food from here for people. So is that what tandoori is? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. All right. Anyways, so that's all good stuff. Let's Oh wow, that song's really going hard, isn't it? Kind of like that. I'm on lo-fi today, guys. I'm listening to lo-fi on Pretzel Rocks. Oh, tandoori is an oven cooking style. Nice. Yeah, I never know. I wouldn't say I've been all over the world. I've definitely been to the Middle East, and I've definitely been to parts of Europe, only passing through. But I've never been over to any of the Asian, um, what's considered traditionally Asian continent, right? Obviously, I've been to some parts of it, the Middle East parts. But all right. I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna throw a little hourglass up. Take a break. Quick break. And stretch legs. And then we'll come back and we'll work on labs or something, right? So we'll do that. Let me go here and turn camera off. All right. I'll be back. Just hang out. I think Robodom's in charge of everything. I'll be back. Oh, tandoori's like an oven? Nice. All right, I'm back. You guys take a break, wander around. All right, we're still on break, but I need some ideas for what I'm going to eat. I do need some ideas. What kind of food I'm going to get? Yeah, it is the basmati rice. That's right. That long rice. It's good stuff. All right. We're still kind of on break, but I'll pop back on because I always go wander around a little bit, take a walk around the upstairs here. Oh, there's Ranger. Ranger's back. We'll creep on Ranger for a minute. See what's going on. Check my Twitch. Do I make math videos? I don't make direct. No, I don't do direct math videos because I think people like Khan Academy and Khan Academy is really good, and also Kaggle probably has the best math and like computer sciencey stuff around for people that want to get into this space. What I kind of focus on mostly is just the Linux side of things, showing people how to do like a base OS, get a system running, make it work kind of the way you need it to, when you need it to. That's kind of what I focus on. Yeah, Ranger never used to do this stuff where he just kind of stood there and looked at himself for a little bit. He's kind of, this is newer behavior for him in the last few months. Also, we use Fahrenheit over here in the U.S. It's 90 today in Phoenix, which is it's way too early in the year to be 90 degrees today. Oh, it actually says 93 on my computer here. This is brutal. All right. Yeah, it's 93 today. It was only supposed to get to 90 apparently, but this room here, this room's probably about 73 though. I keep it pretty cool in my house. Yeah. I've shown you guys too sometimes. I have a solar array on the house that collects about 15 kilowatt hours. Well, 15 kilowatts an hour, you know, right? And it supply, even in summer, it supplies everything during the peak part of the day for me out here. So, oh, Ty, it was 80 in West. Yeah. It can get up there. Now, I don't. Any of you guys that have humidity, I don't. I just can't do humidity. Like I like Phoenix, and then me and the wife have talked about, because my wife's only about 4 years and I think 10 months away from retiring. She'll retire in her early 50s, and because she works for a school district, so she gets early retirement. Well, she's been working there since she was 26, so then she gets done at about 53. But anyways, oh yeah, I use AC big time. Yeah, you die in Phoenix without it. Like people literally die in their houses with it sometimes. But yeah, you have to have it on here. But my solar array on the roof completely covers during the day, and I have a south facing exposure, which is that way, and I have just it gets sun all day, literally the entirety of the day. It collects. So I collect, you know, I actually sell back over half my power to the electricity company, so, which is kind of not even a great deal, man. Like these electricity companies, they're constantly like nickel and diming you, and then it's like I typically sell back. Actually, I can tell you how many kilowatt hours I sell back. I take in about 750 kilowatt hours a month, and I sell out 1,500. So you say, well, what is that? What is that in relation? Well, that means I'm selling 2 for every 1, whatever else we're talking about. And I can tell you that when I do that, I still end up paying them about like $20 because of all the taxes and fees and this and this and this. And I'm like, and I know that everything that they get back from me, they just go sell to other people, right? Yeah. Oh, Kanya, you want to get solar? Yeah, Sonia, yeah. Solar's pretty good. I put it up on the roof a few years ago. I can actually show you guys. I have a couple of dashboards that I log in and I can show everything, but the solar would pay itself back off in 11 years and 2 months. That was my math, you know, and my math was pretty accurate for the first couple of years. Now, we've had 2 inverters go out on our system, so that's been a hassle. So that kind of knocked us back a couple of months, but we paid it all, me and the wife paid it all up front. It was a $57K system, $57,000, but we paid it all off, and then now it's basically just paying us back, right? $57K, and then I think we got like 14 in tax something. So I think like the cost to me was like 43,000 or something, if anybody cares. And then it'll take 11 years of that, knocking off about $200 to $300 a month for my electricity bill to pay me back, if you kind of think of it like that. Yeah, they definitely feed. They nickel and dime you, man. It's like the worst thing ever. All right. I mean, I guess it would be worse to not have electricity out here, but oh, Ranger's back. Ranger's back right in time for our break to be over. All right, we'll stop this. Yeah, Ranger is master of all his domain. He's a pretty good dog. He's just so old, man. And I put a leash on him for the first time in probably about 4 months, because he goes out back, he gets his exercise, he wanders the backyard and stuff. But he's been too old to go really for a walk with us the last probably 6 months or so. And I put a couple weeks, about a week and a half ago maybe, I put a collar, I put a leash on him, and I went just down the street to the mailbox. It was about 3 houses down. And he smelled a bush. He must have smelled the dog. And then, like, I was like, Ranger, what are you doing? You're, like, really smelling. And I was, like, looking at the front half of him. Wasn't really looking at the back half. And he was kind of, like, squatting down and, like, peeing a little. And I was like, Ranger, what are you doing, man? And then he fell once on the walk, too. And I felt really bad because, like, his back legs are real weak. He fell, like, coming up the, like, the little sloped curb. And it wasn't good. So he's probably all done with walks. I tried to always go with him. Like, he and I would always walk over and get the mail. And I only put a leash on him because we have a rule in the HOA. He's not going to run at a dog. He's not going to run at fucking anybody. If a dog ran at us, it would run at, like, me, and he would cower behind me. But his days of, like, running out and challenging other dogs are all over. But, yeah, no, we like Ranger. All right, what was I doing? So, I was hitting nodes. I was building stuff. Showing you guys logsec, right? Logsec's a fun little tool. Great tool for this stuff. Good note tool. In fact, you can say you can do this, and then with to do, and then this is something I have to finish. It'll turn. I thought it was to do. Is it not to do? Somebody help me out here. Hold on. I thought it was to do, but let's go look. Hold on. I got it right here. Because all my plugins here. Yeah. Oh, maybe I don't. Hold on. I might not need the brackets around it. It might just be the word to do. Yeah. And then now it becomes something that I can either say is done or not done. So that's kind of a cool too. That's kind of a cool one to, like, I don't know, if you're into that kind of stuff. So, right, there are more things to do. And then it's kind of cool because it pops up here. So they're old. Oh, God. Look at all these old things I never did. Run Kubernetes and Gbox standbys. I was going to show you guys that, but we've done that. We did that. That's actually done. So we have our AWS stuff all working down into so we have the site up. Site should, well, it's funny. Sometimes the site embarrasses us. But most of the time, the site's just up. Yeah. So we do have a prolog.org website, and then you can go in there and you can mess around with a little bit about us. And we're getting bigger faster than we can update this. So that's always fun. And then you can get certified, which is really, we just make a little certificate for you guys, and then you can come over here and you can put that certificate on like either the QR code or the link. And then somebody can verify that they can verify that you really, so like Trevor Small or Smale, he went through and he finished on the 2025. It's just another one of those things, like if people want something for their resume, if you don't have anything on your resume, one thing is better than, anything else. Like I mean, I tell people get as many positive differentiators as you can on your resume. So anyways, yeah, that's the thing. And then the courses are going right now. And you guys just have to get down on the Discord to work with those. All right, so let's do some werewolf stuff. Here's our hammer systems, which are on this older lab, and then we've got the Rocky 9 stuff. We never really fit. I got to get Kafka working before like week 5 probably. But the other stuff that I've got to get working. Let's go look at these other things that I'm going to owe myself. Here's the course guide of all the things we're doing for the security course. What the hell's going on here? There we go. So this next one is all about securing the network. So I have you doing some firewall stuff and some Stig stuff. And then the next one after that's going to be user access and system integration. So for user access and system integration, we're going to actually hook these systems up with LDAP and make them trust some third-party tool to give users the login. So for me to do that, I have to set up a tool that I have not set up in a while called Keycloak. Right? I'm going to use Keycloak as my LDAP. So if you've never seen Keycloak, it's actually a pretty good little tool. And it's an open source identity and access management, right? And let's go look at getting started. And we can run Keycloak on bare metal with just OpenJDK. We can run it in Podman. We can run it in Docker. We can do it in our Kubernetes cluster. We've got a Kubernetes cluster. Kanya, you said home lab versus certification, one company. I think that's always going to be different. Like I think companies are going to manager to manager, you're going to hear different stuff. You'll hear different stuff from me than you would from some of our other guys that sit in interviews often. And what I would tell you on that note is what I would tell you that I think about it is everything on your resume, just be ready to talk about, right? And then try to put things on there that coincide with what they want. Sometimes we do streams where we hop on here and we go to like dice.com or something, and then we just look in like the Phoenix area. I want like Linux admin skills, right? Like what's the Linux admin stuff? And I've actually distilled these down for people that want to go through some of them. If you go back over to like our meeting notes, where's our meeting notes section? It's right here, meeting notes. I have them back up in here, but these are old labs that we've done. These are like sysadmin stuff that you might want. But if you keep going up just a little bit, keep going up a little more. You just gotta keep going back before our Wazoo stuff. I have like, here were real jobs. I think it's in here somewhere. So somebody wanted like, those are my intern ones. I have it up here anyways. The point is you can go find it if you want to. And it's all the things. I thought it was in meeting notes. Shit, I don't know where it is anymore. Alright, I don't know where it is anymore. But the point is you can go find it. And it was us looking at all these jobs, right? We go to a job and we'd say they want a technical support year engineer, Linux and HPC. Okay. And then you come down in here and after going through some jobs, you realize that everybody wants you to have the same basic skills. They want you to be able to troubleshoot. They want you to be able to do some Linux stuff. This one's a little more GPFS. GPFS. This is HPC, so it's like Lustre, GPFS. These are all parallel file systems, yeah. They want you to know. So this is probably, actually, this is some kind of customer that they have that then is facing out and letting other people in because you need to know Jupyter and ML frameworks like Spark, Kubernetes, and Ceph. I wouldn't even call Kubernetes an ML framework, but okay, that's maybe what they're running some of their machine. That wouldn't be a great place to do it, but I've seen tools that'll do it on there. That's probably what their use cases are. And then they want you to have, some knowledge of some things, right? You need to understand Linux installations. This one's less troubleshooting and more HPC, but is it also local to like Santa Clara? And then it says it's 108 to 200 something. So that's not bad. It's not bad for a high performance compute engineer, but you could go higher, right? But that's not bad. That's not a bad start, right? That's not a bad. Anyway, so we were coming down here and we were going through these, and we were finding that when we looked for Linux stuff, a lot of times they wanted network, they wanted embedded programmer, they wanted all these other things. They just wanted Linux as well. So then, here's a junior Linux admin out here, right? And then what do they want? They probably want you to be able to make some file systems, be able to use some security stuff, do some assessments and audits, and then fix stuff, right? They always want you to be able to troubleshoot and fix stuff. Yeah, look, this is all the basic things that we kind of do. And what we did was we pulled these all out and we put them in our notepad here, and then we just worked through them all. And I don't know where they are though. There was like, I had hundreds of pages of this. I thought it was right here in, I could have sworn it was all in meeting notes. Maybe I put it in the jobs and interview. Let's go look in here. Maybe I put it in jobs and interview. Maybe that's where I put it. Let's go look. By the way, the search function is just not great in here, so I'm just going to go up and look for it. And also, it wouldn't be that far back. Maybe I put it in here. This may have been a place I would have put something like that. Never know where I'm putting stuff. I was working on this not that long ago too, so it wouldn't be too far back. So people putting their job stuff in there. That's good. That's good. We'll putting resumes in there. You guys can look at resume examples if you want. I don't have it. I swear things go missing. I swear things just go missing around here. I think my mods mess with me. I really do. Not in presentations, because I want to put it in there. I'm 100% sure I did it, though. I want to put it in off-topic, because it's not off-topic. Not off-topic resources, either. Yeah, it's none of that crap. Alright, screw it. I don't know where it is. It's lost forever. Yeah, I definitely did it in the last few months, because it's over here still. I still have it. I can go find. I can search by keyword. I just don't know where. It was job skills examples. All right, so let's go look. Let's go see if. Go see how the job function. Nope. Go look for. Look for something that should only be in here. I don't know. Elevation charts. Oh. Oh, it was in general? Why the hell would I put that in general? No, that's meeting notes. Hell. Yeah, I was putting it in meeting notes. I just wasn't far back enough. Yeah, here's all the meeting notes stuff. So if you guys want it. And then it's like, what were the things that they were asking? You know, what were they looking for? Yeah, I thought I did it like 30 times. I was like, where the hell are all those? So these were questions, right? Like, huh. Some of them were quite long. Anyways, alright, screw it. I don't know where anything is anymore. Losing my mind. Alright. Let's look at our containers. Let's clean up some of the containers we're not using anymore. So we're running Rocky 9 Lab on the one set of nodes, and then we're running the 1025. So we don't need either of these. So we're going to delete these and clean up some space. Because watch, df-h on, I would say dot. And where we're at is 28% usage. So let's do wctl container delete. Let's get rid of this container. Yes. And then we also want to delete this container. Oh, and then we were doing the utils because we were doing the rust utils on a box just to mess with it. We were doing that a while ago because somebody was saying all the utils were being rewritten in Rust, so we were switching them all over to C. I don't remember where we ever got on that. That was so long ago. Let's get rid of all these. Just save some space. So we were at 28% usage. See how much we save. Probably get rid of the... We're not going to get rid of the T-shoots because I'll open those up when we get to that part of the lab again for people. In the security course, in the administrator course, there's a week where we do the different troubleshooting environments, and I think people like that. We did it near the end, and then it was kind of like live, and we all worked together with one person driving to get through to the right answer on what was going on in those nodes. So basically, I built like I built in some problems to these containers, but they work, and then we cut off so only a certain number of people would go to each one, and then I had you guys log into them. And we'll reset that up for next time. All right, how's our space? All right, so we saved 5%. Knocked 9 gigs out, so they're about 3 gigs each for those images. All right, there is in here. I had too many of these open, I know. I know I'll eventually close them all down, but so real quick, if we go back to here, some of you guys probably haven't seen this for a while, but the way the cluster works in our environment, right? The way it's my home lab, but to you guys it's the Prologue lab. You guys jump in and you get into these boxes. If you've never seen kind of how Werewolf works, let me walk you through some of the basics of it, because this might be useful for some of you if you've never seen. So first off, Werewolf is like a cluster management tool. I've been using it more and more the last almost year now inside high performance compute systems. It used to always be when we build big clusters, we would use like a tool like XCAT. HPCM was a big one. Shasta had Cray had Shasta for a while. Shasta was another name of the system. But basically it's just like, how do I enumerate all these servers I have? I have all these servers out there, and they're all going to try to come up on the network, assuming I plugged them in right. And how do I control them, right? Well, they always have the same MAC address. They always have the same name burned into the NIC. Now, you could spoof that, but let's just move that to the side as like a silly thing we do when we're having fun, and just say that like base systems, when they come up, they have a NIC, right? And then sometimes they have multiple NICs for like different integrations, like IPMI, when we want to like reboot them, out of band management type stuff. If we want to get to like a web page, some servers have a full web page that you can go into and you can look at how they boot up and all kinds of stuff, right? You can actually go to a console through the web page of some servers nowadays. Almost all Dell servers do that. But anyways, where I'm going with that is, when a box first comes up, how do you want to manage that box on your network, right? And you can keep databases, and the databases will be like, and you don't want to keep that in flat files, so you use a tool typically. And Werewolf is a really great tool for this. So I'll give you guys a little like quick rundown on the Werewolf class, so you guys can see like, why the hell does he keep showing this Werewolf server and all these different nodes or whatever? Well, what happens in our environment is I wanted to build a bunch of virtual machines, right? And we have all these virtual machines. Here's all your Rocky ones, and here's all your Hammer ones, right? And what I didn't want to do was go and put a CD in each of these. I have the capability of doing that, right? We have an NFS ISO library. We can just mount an ISO, and we could have built all 25 of these Hammer servers. But hopefully none of you would have watched me do that. That would have taken me like weeks, right? And not weeks, but that would have taken me like a 40-hour work week to just build a bunch of servers like that. So what we did instead was we used Werewolf, and we pulled down containers, different containers, and we built them out to be the systems that we wanted. So we built Rocky 9 Lab, and then this other Rocky 9 Lab 10 Feb. So this one has been patched and changed a whole bunch. And then we applied those. Let's go to node list. Let's look at all the nodes that we've defined in our system. And let's just say like, well, okay, here's this Rocky 1 box. Say I wanted to just see everything about Rocky 1. Now that's kind of messy. Let's do that. And here's all the configurations that we put on this box about Rocky 1. Specifically, remember I said earlier, like there's that hardware address. So this hardware address right here, if I go to Rocky 1, it's right here. That hardware address maps to the hardware address on this box. And you might say, Scott, did you go, like, because you guys watched me build all these if you've been around for the last year. No, I didn't map those manually. That would have taken forever. What I did instead was I built these systems over here, and then there's a field right here. See that discoverable field? You can set that to true for all of your nodes, but when we did it, I think we did, when we did the Rocky boxes, we did them all at once. But when I did the hammer block boxes, if you guys watched me boot the hammers, I did them one at a time. So basically I went down and I said, okay, this guy, Rocky 1, he's going to be discoverable. And then I came over here and I turned on the Rocky 1 box. And then he found that he was supposed to be that node, and basically it's almost like Werewolf registered that MAC address for me. All this stuff got registered by default, right? It's all automatically done. And then what happens in this system is the systems are now stateless nodes, and they're going to boot. These are going to boot stateless, meaning that they kind of exist like this as a server. They're just running, and when I turn them off, they're like a trap door, and then they come back up clean again. So if you were standing on that little trap door and you've like put a web server on one of these, or like, you know, you go over here, you know, and you just DNF install HTTPD, right? And you just install the web server on here. When this server goes down and comes back up, that's gone. That web server and all that stuff you just did, wiped clean. And that's the best way for me. I'll just reboot them. For me, that was the best way to build a lab environment where you guys would always have clean systems, right? So now we're going to watch him boot. He's going to boot up here, and he's not going to know who he is. He's going to do a DHCP, right? Which, by the way, is down in one of these definitions down here. He'll do a DHCP. He'll find his MAC address, and he'll find out that he's Hammer 1 in the environment. He's Hammer 1. He's going to go pull down his kernel and his init RAM-FS. He's going to iPXE boot, and he's going to be, like, he's not going to have that web server on him here in a second. But we can see him pulling that down from the logs on the Werewolf server. We can see him at his console that he's booting and he's coming up, and then we can go back in him and he will not have that in there. He's like a little trap door. He's back to a clean lab environment. That's all defined right here inside of Werewolf. Werewolf does that through a bunch of services. The most important for booting is DHCP, right? The server comes up. I have no memory of this place. I don't know who I am. It sends a MAC broadcast across the network, all Fs, right, at layer 2. Sends a MAC broadcast. The only thing that should ever respond, there should only be one. Like they're kind of like the DHCP is, I can only be one. I have to be unique, right? You are controlling the server or nodes using it. Yeah, XCPNG manages all of the hosts. But the guest servers, as they come up, are talking through Werewolf, right? This would be the same as if they were physical nodes. They just happen to be virtual nodes in this environment, right? So, uh-oh. My father-in-law is in the hospital right now, but he's fine. He's just getting like antibiotics every 8 hours, and then I have these. I'll drop the videos up in the beverage section of our Discord, but I have these videos of this stupid little. It's a little robot barista that makes your drinks, and we were telling him about it. And he's like, "What's a barista?" And we're like, the people that make you drinks are baristas. And he's like, well, he doesn't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee either, but he's like, no, what? And we're like, yeah, let's go over it. So then the wife got like a $3 drink or something, and it like sat there and it made that. Is the Werewolf server dual homed? No, the Werewolf server actually only exists in... That's a good point. Hold on. Yeah, the Werewolf server does only exist in the 200 network in my home lab. The only dual homed, the router is C router. C router sits, and he's got two interfaces like this. And when things want to talk between my .11, so it's 192.168.11.0, so the 11 network to the 200 network, everything goes through C router. And this is VLAN 1, and this is all VLAN. So this is my normal home network over here, 192.168.11. And then my back-end network that all you guys jump in and you get shot over as jailed users are into the 192.168.200 network, right? So that's how you guys get connected in when you guys come in through either the streamer one or the MC Hammer user, right? Those are the admins or the security course people. This is how you guys jump into my environment. When you come in as one of those users, you are immediately root over there. There's no these boxes are pretty durable. You can reboot them, jump back in. They're going to be a clean box every time. I give you root because how are you going to learn to be an administrator if you're not trusted with root, right? So, Bobby Tom. So, the home router is the only physical router I'm running. There's a switch behind me. It's like a little 10. I think it's an 8 or a 10 port, like little Dell switch or something. It's not really. It's an unmanaged switch. The virtualization, this is virtualization. Virtualization is all happening through XCP-ng, but the VLANing is actually happening inside of there as well. So one of the cool things about, did I close? Oh, here it is. One of the cool things that happens here is in the networking section, I can actually set here. So this is the host, right? He can have definitions of VLANs. So his lab internal network VLAN shares with this other guy, so we put VLAN tagging on both of them, and then now those devices will only talk to each other because the other devices can't with 802.11, sorry, 802.1q tagging. That's what frame tagging is for that. It can't talk to the other devices on the network. Oh, anyways, I stopped saying what I was saying, but my father-in-law is in the hospital and they're texting right now about him. He's fine. He got moved to like a better room. He was in an observation room. Observation rooms aren't very good because they're like internal, like by the nursing station. But he's gonna have a midline inserted so that they can just do IV antibiotics at home. He's gonna be on like 10 days of antibiotics, so it's like no good. He's on like really high level antibiotics too. So I don't know what's bugging him, but whatever it is, it's still bugging him. So all right. So. Yeah, so this is the environment. By the way, I shared this earlier. You guys can be in here working. If you want a copy of this, you can just jump in this. If you're on the Twitch side, though, you have to pull that link out and drop it in. But you guys can take this, and then you would just go here, and you would save it in your own. So mine is already saved, so I don't care what you guys do to this drawing. But you guys can jump in the same drawing. If you've never used Excalidraw, you can do whatever. Oh, Phil, yeah, that's father-in-law. Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, look, you guys can, I don't care what you guys do to this drawing. I mean, it'll affect other people, but like it doesn't affect me any, right? I can get more. But anyway, so look, so here's Werewolf doing his thing, right? So I cat Etsy werewolf.conf, and here's his configuration file. It's super simple. You just give him his IP address, that's himself, and then you tell him the net mask and other things that are going on in the network. You give him Werewolf alternate ports if you need. We're just going to do our regular Werewolf. And then, is he running DHCP or were somebody else doing it? He should do it, though. Here's his DHCP range. And then, is TFTP enabled? That does need to be enabled so that Pixie boot can occur. And then if he's doing NFS. So he is doing 4 NFS exports right here, right? So if I bounce out of this real quick and I SSH, so I do a show mount dash E, there's his stuff. And if I SSH to like hammer 1, right? Oh, is he up yet? He should be coming up. There he is. Uptime, only been up for 5 minutes. RPM-QA grep-I for HTTPD, right? Because that's the software I just put on. Gone. It's like a little trap door. He's the same server. He's brand new all over again. So then we come back over here and then df-h. There's his mount points off of that primary Werewolf server. You can configure these all kinds of different ways, guys. Like I've seen Werewolf do some pretty interesting stuff inside of different customers' clusters. I've seen it just use NFS for stuff. I've seen us use a lot of times we use a high-speed networking called InfiniBand, and then we'll have a backend InfiniBand, and all that will be covered with that. And there's all kinds of stuff going. Hazy said this. Yeah, and actually, guys, you know what it was before Werewolf? So Werewolf was born out of Beowulf. So you guys can go look at old Beowulf clusters if you want. But it's a company called CIQ, and they're the same ones that run this. They're the same ones that run Rocky Linux. So people ask me, Rocky, why Rocky instead of Alma? I'll just tell you, all the government contracts I've been doing have been Rocky Linux, because Rocky has a supportable. You can get support through um, CIQ. CIQ is the company. And by the way, my company that I work for, Redline, we might be doing some training. So we do so much in Werewolf, and we build out so many of these that they were like, hey, that's a pretty cool high availability thing that you built. Because we built two Werewolf nodes next to each other, and then we do high availability with CoroSync and Pacemaker. So CoroSync and Pacemaker will do it. And they, if you put both of those together, you can have them fail over between the two. We do the same thing with Slurm, and it's kind of become like a standard deployment. We've been at, like, Dell has asked us to show us how we do them, like, because we do a lot of subcontract work through Dell. They're like, hey, will you show us how you do that? And then they got asked about it because people have been talking about it. And then CIQ, that actually does all this stuff, they were like, hey, would you guys, if we need to, like, train people, can we send them to you guys for training? And my boss was like, yeah, sure. So he's going to build out a plan for training people or whatever. So oh yeah, I use InfiniBand all the time. Yeah, I could log into, I can't do it on stream, but I can log into 10 systems right now that have InfiniBand on them. What was the question? Oh, have you actually used do you think the new Ethernet updates will make it cool? InfiniBand has one benefit over Ethernet that I don't think Ethernet's going to be able to overcome. But I mean, maybe we'll see if Ethernet can. But all the drivers I've ever seen, so InfiniBand it uses a thing called RDMA, right? So if you guys have never seen RDMA, let me show you guys this. You want to Google RDMA technology, right? And then go read about RDMA. But at the bare minimum, what RDMA means is that our disks are going to bypass. Our network bypasses kernel and goes right to memory. So it bypass, like, normally when you come in from an Ethernet connection, you go through IP tables or NF tables, and then you deal with all that stuff inside of the kernel before you go directly to memory, right? But with RDMA, you bypass that and you go directly to memory. So it's faster. So yeah, so look up RDMA. If you guys haven't seen RDMA, there's some really good stuff out there. By the way, thank you guys for the Prime. You guys can spend those Primes anywhere, but if you use them here, that's always cool, because then, you know, one, it's I have more subscriptions, and then two, for you guys, you don't have to watch any ads. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, go read a little bit about the difference between how TCP and RDMA. Now, with RDMA and InfiniBand, you don't have to run IP addressing schemes over it, but we still do. That's actually standard our company uses, because then we can control how Slurm talks. And that's one of the reasons we do it. I wouldn't say that's like a secret or anything. It's not like some secret sauce that my company does, but there's that. It is Red Hat controlled, sorry, it is Red Hat like accepted, but I think to read that, you're probably going to need a Red Hat account. But here's the NVIDIA Academy on it. Let's see if they have a good, yeah, they'll teach you about RDMA. So I'll link that to you guys. I don't know how good any of that is, but a lot of times they'll have like a good write-up from like a college or something. But yeah, go look up RDMA. That's the real crux of the difference between just doing some type of Ethernet coming in and then having all the layers involved and direct access to memory. So that's a big technological thing to understand. All right, so back here on my little clusters, you just saw I can boot any of these boxes and they'll just go down and come back up clean. They'll be like, I have no memory of this place. I could do DNF install HTTPD again, and it would have my, I have to go reinstall it all to get to my, this would be downloading a web server, right? Because HTTPD is it is the Red Hat fork of Apache, right? So it's an official fork, but it mirrors everything. It's just a downstream now, but they do their own stuff to it. If you guys don't know, all Red Hat really does, Red Hat doesn't own any of the software. In fact, when IBM bought them for, I think it was like 28 billion, they were like, I was at the keynote that year, and they were like, I was at the summit that year for Red Hat. It was in Boston, and they said, hey, It was weird. We bought a company that didn't actually have any assets and didn't even own the software that they were putting together. Because you might say, well, what does Red Hat actually do? Well, what Red Hat actually does as a company is they ensure that all of these different, all of these different open source tools that are out there, all these different things that are coming in, are going to. It's almost like they're like a little sausage grinder, and they're going to come out as working. They are certified. Basically, everything that's in their repos is certified to work with their version of Red Hat. That's what it all is. That's literally all the magic they do. And then you say, well, what else do they do? Well, the other part of how you make money on open source is you sell support. So to get access to these repos, I'm using Rocky repos, which are slightly different. They're actually mirrored off of that, right? The Rocky repos are the stuff that they certify as good and working on their system. But yeah, Red Hat spends all that engineering time basically squeezing down all this shit from all these different. I mean, look, we can go look who the maintainer is for like mod HTTP 2-2. I don't know who it is. It's probably part of. It's probably something with the original Apache project, but I don't know who's maintaining that. But I know that it's been tested to work on this version of this, or it wouldn't have made it into the repository. And that's what Red Hat kind of adds. That's the value add. They call them like value added. And then that's always what we call utility, right? Utility is the value added by a function of something, right? Anyways, that's like a marketing term, but here's all the things that were installed. And when I'm done with the server and I reboot it, it's going to be clean again. It won't have any of that stuff on it. So, yeah. Software. Well, Hayes, you're definitely around open and free software. We're either open source or free software enthusiasts typically around here. In fact, you'll find people that split those quite, like from the outside, people will say open source, free software, same thing. Inside, you're going to have a fight on your hands because there's people, not with me because I don't care, but there is a distinct difference between open source software, and free software, and you can go look them up. In fact, sometimes down in Discord, I haven't done this in like a year. We should probably do it. We'll just have we'll just sit down there in the Discord and we'll watch OS Revolution, and we'll just kind of hang out and just watch it or whatever. So. Yeah, Ty, hey, one of the best things you can do, especially if I don't know how far you are along in your career, but early on, one of the best things you can do is reinstall something, because you get a lot of experience by reinstalling and looking at I didn't like how that thing was set, or I didn't like how that, was designed to come up or whatever. Those are kind of good things or whatever. So, hey, thanks for the follows, guys. Thanks for the primes and the bits, Robodom. Robodom's always around. If you guys don't know, he's been one of my mods for, years now. Robodom's always around hanging out. Got to get to scale next year, and we'll get a picture. We'll get everybody. Oh, also, Robodom, I haven't said that. I've been sitting here for over 2 hours. I haven't mentioned this once. I've been giving the wife a hard time, right? So like the wife likes her job. She doesn't like her job, but she persists at her job. She's got under 5 years left before she retires from the school district, right? You're gonna like this, Robodom. And I told her yesterday, I said, hey, we're going to set up like a little Shopify or something. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to set up something where people can buy like professional Linux users group swag. People can buy like, I don't know, we're going to have like little hoodies and little hats or something. We're going to make some little cool logos, like all of our do all the Linux type stuff that we're always saying. And we'll have to have it where everybody has them for the next Scale conference. So then people are gonna be like, "What the hell's going on in here?" Like, yeah, we'll have like merch, yeah, because like I want people, obviously, even somebody was asking earlier, like, "Hey, how can I support more?" And I'm like, "Hey, just hang out. If you're just hanging out, that's cool." But I'm like, but if you want to make billions off of something, you sell merch, right? Like, I'm just kidding, but yeah, like like. Everybody wants a hoodie and everybody wants a shirt and like a little beanie cap and stuff like that. I'm gonna set it up, Robodom. But anyways, this is where I was talking about making fun of the wife a little bit. She just wants to coast out and finish her 4 years and 10 months or whatever and be done. And I told her, I told the wife, I was like, hey, you're gonna be my director of marketing operations and you're gonna run all this stuff. Russ got rich. Yeah, a lot of people do. Because here's the thing, right? Like, if somebody buys the book, that's like $20, right? And then I think they have a book on sale right now for like $10. That's cool. But like, if somebody buys a sweater and like a beanie cap and something like that, that's like over $100, right? I'm like, that's kind of, and I'm not like trying to make money off of this stuff. I told the wife I'm always looking for. I don't care about get rich quick schemes. I'm always looking for like paying off the house early schemes because I'm gonna pay the house off here right as the wife retires. But I've told her if she finishes, if we get it paid off early, then we can do it. So anyways, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, mercs better than merchandise better than mercs. Although I could have been a merc when I first got out of the army. The only skills I gained in the army were infantry skills, which are basically breaking stuff and killing things. So those are the only skills I learned when I was in there. So, all right. So anyways, there's this. If any of you jumped in here, right, when I shared it, you can always just go save your own copy of this. Or you can start a brand new one. Also, when I shared it, I didn't tell you guys this. I should have told you this. Is you probably got it in light mode. So you just go switch it to dark mode. I should have showed you that. Coffee mug should start at 64 ounces. I like that. I like that for sure. Yeah, so look, you guys, here, I'll reshare this in case anybody wants the link. I've shared it a few times during today. But you guys can take notes in here. This is... Excalidraw is a fantastic tool for all kinds of note-taking. Like some of you guys have seen, like I have a collection of things in here. Here's my monitoring. This is like the home lab. This is our architecture in the home lab. This is all of the monitoring that I do, and all of the monitoring that I've shown you guys how to do in labs and stuff are right here. This is it. That's all the stuff I do. Easy, but Texas, you can just rent your property. Property taxes are a bear. Yeah, I do have property taxes in AZ. Yeah, it's terrible because I have my old house still, and my brother Tommy lives there, and it's yeah, you're always renting your house for the rest of your life. That's one of the fun things about paid off, still paid off, still it's like you're renting it, right? Because you have to pay. It ends up being basically like 2 months if you were still paying a mortgage. Typically about what it is. It's kind of annoying. I mean, I know it's a good problem to have, like having kept your old house or whatever, but it's kind of annoying having to rent it for the rest of your life. So, I don't know if all states do that, but we definitely do that here. Yeah, death and taxes. Death and tax. I like that. Yeah, guys, this is the coolest thing I found today. Was this little check thing here? So we will. That's going to be implemented and integrated in the course. So there you go. All right. But anyways, yeah, Robodom. So we'll get swag. People that I meet up with at Scale next year, I'll definitely bring it. I wonder if. Hold on. Let's go see. Does Scale have sponsors? Oh, no. Hold on. I need to go to Scale first. And then I need to see exhibits. Robodom, I'm going to need you to be one of my... here's all the exhibits. Robodom, you'll sell merch, and then I'll just pay you to hang out and sell merch. I'm just kidding. Hey, did you meet all these people out there, Robodom? Were all these people there? That's yeah, that's a pretty good size expo, man. There's some really good stuff there. Although I might get into it, and I might need you guys to back me up when I go fight all the Grafana guys. I'll be like, you didn't want me to speak at GrafanaCon? Here's a Seo Nagi, right? I'll teach you a judo throw. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. I don't care. I don't care enough to do any of that stuff. Well, that's kind of cool. Linbit. All right. Anyways, that's all that stuff. Let's move this out of the way. We don't need this that wide right now. But yeah, there's Excalidraw. You guys can play in there. Great tool to learn, guys. Like, we use this professionally on projects. Me and a few of the guys, we're always drawing stuff. Just always drawing stuff, and then you just save it, and you can pass them around and stuff. Yeah, Robodom, that's actually pretty cool. I'm going to extract the data, so I spun and configured a MySQL server with AWS Aurora, NEC2 for client, throwaway, like modern times. Yeah. Hey, some of that stuff, too, it's actually kind of cool. You can take, if you even just have an old database and you throw it up in, like, S3, there's all kinds of tools like Athena that'll go and it'll parse that database. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to rebuild that database, but if it's, like, a good database and you just didn't have anywhere to run it, like you were just saying, and you go throw that up in S3 as an it'll go up as like a full file, right? And then yeah, you can just pull it out with Athena and all this stuff, and your queries are pennies. Like it, yeah, because there's some pretty cool little stuff that you can do. Actually, you know what? That might be a fun project. I did a project for work one time. I don't know if I told you. I've told you guys this before long ago, but I was hanging out. I was working at the college. So when I first came back to Redline, I was working at a college for a year, helping them rebuild their high performance compute team, hiring people on, getting people up to speed and stuff. And I remember that my boss hit me up and he was like, "Hey, Scott, I need to test one of our customers. We have 2 pipes into their facility, into their data center, a 10 gig one and a backup one. And the backup one's supposed to be 10 gig, but we're not getting 10 gig on it." And I said, "All right, well, what do we want to do?" And he goes, let's spin up an AWS instance and make sure that we're getting 10 gig through it." And he's like, "What would we do for that?" And I was like, "Well, we'd use like iPerf, right? iPerf 3 is a great tool for that." And we had to spin up a medium-sized instance because the instance had to be big enough. There's different layers. There's different levels of NIC size for AWS, like 10 gig Ethernet. If you want to run at least 10 gig, you have to have a slightly bigger box, right? And typically they're like the mediums. They're not like you can't just run some of the smaller instances, right? Yeah, so we had to go a little higher, right? And he and I, so we were working over like a lunch. Like I was taking lunch, he was eating. He was just out of a data center working on something else. And he said, "Hey, Scott, can we work on this?" He gets into their facility. He flips them over because it was a dev environment. He flips them over to this other one. I stand the instance up and put iPerf 3, and then he takes iPerf 3, connects to it, and we validate over the second pipe that we're getting the 10 gigs that we expect. And aside from if you took our time out of it, right? Because I'm salaried and I'm already working on some other project, and then he's the boss, so he's salaried too as far as that goes. Take our time out of it. The only cost to that, like turning that system on and doing that and turning it off, was probably about 40 something cents. It was nothing. And then he flipped over that tool. We tested, we validated, because they weren't getting the same speed on the secondary link. And what we did find was that there was some type of throttling, and we just had to open more UDP connections. So we just relayed that to the customer and said, "Hey, you're getting the speed, but there's some kind of throttle happening in there. And if you do this to the type of communication they were doing, you can get the speed that you expect." That was it. It was that easy. But we like validated all this stuff. We wrote up a little thing for them, and then I've never even worked on that project before or since. But it just worked on it with the boss for a little bit. So my point is, where I was going with that is we draw this stuff up in tools like this. And this is Excalidraw right here, but it's an extension inside of VS Code. And then also I showed you guys, if you're running logsec, you can also do, this is all Excalidraw. It's an open source tool behind the hood. You can run your own locally. It's an open source tool. You can run it locally on bare metal, or just if you got a Kubernetes cluster. You can do that stuff as well. You have a Linode server? Yeah. But you forgot the MySQL password. Hayes, you might be able to, even if you forgot the MySQL password, you may be able to get in on the, if you didn't lock it down too much, the root user may be able to get in as root with root's password. Because root at localhost is almost always built in unless you lock that down. So that's my advice on that. If you, as long as you have root to the box, you typically can at least get in MySQL unless somebody's hardened it. But I know by default that's open in MariaDB. So, yeah. All right, so where was I at here? I was gonna build more labs today. Oh, what is this? I got extensions that are old. What? You guys can all restart. What the hell? Okay, whatever. Restart them all. I don't give a shit. Stupid things. All right. What are we doing then, Scott? What do you use as far as security to ensure that open source you're using is legit and secure? Well, too big. So in the industry, what I do is I just make sure that I'm using something that's supported. That's what most contractors do, most government stuff. And then in the home lab, most all the open source I use, I have some stuff that I've used that is outside of like the normal most of the stuff I will get, let me just say this, 98% of the stuff I get will come in through a normal repo from like Rocky or Rel or Ubuntu or something like that. So that probably, I'm basically leaning on other people for that in that case. I don't do a lot of I mean, I'm lazy, and also it just takes work to do. I don't do a whole lot of like S tracing and tracking things for like what the calls are doing and those kind of things. But what I do a fair amount of is tracking the network. So I do watch for egress and stuff like that. So in the industry, yeah, Rel is big in the industry, and then also Rocky right now. Those are the big ones for sure. All right. Guys, I have not decided what I'm doing for dinner yet. I want to eat something, but I don't know what I want to eat. Also, I've been live for 2.5 hours. I could keep going a little bit, but I'll probably drop off here and raid over to one of my buddies. I think Harold's on. He's always doing cool technology projects. He's a Windows guy. Well, he's a Microsoft guy. But he does a whole, even though he's a Microsoft MVP, in fact, which is like one of their special guys, he is very much into open source tooling and robotics and stuff. So it's kind of good. Yeah, Hayes, I do a lot with S-Trace and L-Trace. In fact, I need to build some labs on those for you guys up on Killer Coda. Those are some of the labs I have in the queue for me to build. I was trying to do this year, I was trying to do one lab per month. I've got 2 down for 2 months. I got to get 1 done this month if I want to do it before, you know, if I want to kind of keep ahead of that and try to just have another 12. Yeah, Hayes, S-Trace is good for that. There's also, S-Trace can be used, there's a, I think it's -C or -S for summary. It's one of those two. It's either count or summary. But what the S-Trace does is you run a process and then you like Control-C and stop it, and then it dumps all the system calls it was doing. But it gives you the aggregate on one page like this. It's one page. Here, let's see if we can find it real quick. Let's see if we can find it real quick. It's, I think it's -C or -S. B syscall, detach on syscall. No. Dash follow. Do want to follow forks typically. Output. It's probably down here in output. Where is it at? I haven't used it in a while. Oh yeah, here it is. Dash. Okay, so watch. I go like one more man. Attach. Yeah, there it is. So S-Trace. So we do this. We go ss-ntulp, right? And then we look. We grep for like SSHD, right? And we get that SSHD is running on PID 792, right? So now we need to S-Trace attach, right? There's the words right here. Attach, ATTACH, equals that PID, right? And then we do like a -C, right? And it'll just sit here, right? But it's capturing everything. And then when we're done, we just hit Control-C, and it'll say, oh, it detached. All right. So hold on. So there's that. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to, while true, do SSH to hammer 1. That's where we were at, right? Hammer 1? Yeah. SSH uptime. And then, right? So all I'm doing right now is forever, I'm logging in and doing an uptime against that box. I'm just logging into hammer 1, uptime, disconnect, sleep 1 second, over and over and over again. That's what that command does, right? Come over here, and now I'm going to hit Control-C, and these were all the calls that happened in that time. So I could attach to an SSHD daemon. This is the daemon right here. I can watch those things happen. Let's say I was having a problem connecting outside of what I could normally see, and I can see here were the calls or the things that were happening in the system at that time, right? Maybe I really need to dig in. Maybe I need to see, like, oh, so let's do this. Let's let's do something serious here. We were messing around here. Let's do something serious. We're going to start the process. And now over here, we're going to change this a little bit. Instead of saying while true, we're going to say for, I don't know, I in, and then we're just going to say sequence 1 to 5, right? It's a little known fact, or you might not think about this, but if you're doing a counting variable or a counting loop, if you don't care what you might say, Scott, you're not using your I. No, I'm not. I don't give a shit about it. I just wanted to count 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all I wanted. So I'm just going to run that real quick. And then I come over here and I say, what happened in those 5, in that time when that was open with 5 connections, I had, I had 20 calls, I had 5 errors against whatever this P select is and this RT sig return, and then maybe I need to go dig into the stack and see what's happening, right? And the process ID of 729 is down here in proc 792. Sorry, 792. Here it is. Here's everything that process is doing right here. So I'm not having any problem with SSH right now, but if I was, I'd go digging. I'd start digging. And I've showed you guys this stuff before, and we've talked about this before, where like if Hayes is like hanging out and there's a bunch of people hanging out, and I go, hey, throw him the keys to my truck and say, hey, go get everybody ice cream. If he goes and turns the key to get going, I would expect if the truck just starts, he would just drive off. I wouldn't expect the truck to start and then him come out and start kicking the tires and checking the tire pressure and opening up the hood and looking down and saying, oh yeah, the engine is engineing. No, that's troubleshooting stuff. You troubleshoot when something doesn't work, right? So a lot of this stuff, we're really just watching a running system right here. We're watching it work. But could we watch things break? Yes, we could watch things break. And we could then we could go and intentionally start breaking things over here, right? And maybe do weird things inside of here. And also, this is not following the forked processes, because there was what was the man? There was a follow for forks, right? I'm gonna hit N and yeah, dash F, because you may have very astutely noticed and went, wait a minute, Scott, hold on. SSHD only did that call when you first came in, and then it forked your process connection, and you were no longer on 792. And I would say, you're right, but now we can follow the forks, right? And then we can come in here, and now dash F, right? So we add an F, and then we go here, and then now we say, well, what happens when I run 5 connections to that system and I fork off and see those forks finish? We should see a slightly different output over here. I should finish. Now, look at this. This is way different because now we see all those other things that were happening, right? And these kind of like understanding how to connect to a system and how to do some of this stuff, it will help you when you're working with your developers. Because your developer, have you guys ever seen that? Hold on, like where's that? Hold on. Have you guys ever seen this meme where, I'm sure you guys have seen this, where everybody's just looking around? Right? You guys have all seen this meme, right? I'm not introducing any of you to the internet for the first time here, am I? And you're like, oh, I've never seen that meme before, right? This is how you and your developers are going to be, because they're going to have developed some code, and they're going to be running it on your shit, and nobody's going to know how anything works, and everybody's going to be like, in the meeting, you can at least go look at what the code's doing, right? All right, anyways, all right. I'm getting loopy because I've been on here for so long. But, all right. Suffice it to say, you guys are welcome to hang out. We got a really good group of people down there doing all the Linux stuff. I think we're up to... It's actually fun. If you're ever in the server, you can just go to, like, welcome, and you can see all the people popping in. And you can say user count. And we're at 3744, so we're growing pretty good. Last year, we only hit 1,000 early last year, right around this time last year. In fact, it was right at the end of March, and we've had pretty good growth since then. So that's fun. And again, the whole goal is just to get you guys doing stuff. We don't charge anything for Discord. You don't have to lie to kick it. None of that stuff, right? You just hang out and come do Linux. So, all right. Let's go find somebody to raid. You don't make... Yeah, Don't Make Me. What is that movie? I know that's a Clint Eastwood movie. I just don't know what. Or is that John? Or is that John Wayne movie? Sorry, John Wayne, right? I don't even know what that is. That's not the Alamo, is it? Because I've seen the Alamo, but it's been 30 years since I saw that one. All right, all right. Anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. It's too late in the night. Oh, The Good, the Bad, and the... Oh, okay, I got it, I got it. I don't think I've seen that one. But I've definitely seen the Alamo, which I remember them coming in. That's how I learned how to drink a jug of corn whiskey. You guys never seen how you drink a jug of corn whiskey? Because it's too heavy. It's too heavy to pick up. They're too big. So you put them over. You put them over your arm like this. You put your thumb through the jug, and then you lift it up like this, and then that's how you muscle it up and drink it without, because you can't pick it up like this. It would be too wobbly. But you put it on your arm, right? And and then you lift it up, and then that's how you drink the corn whiskey. And I learned that from watching the Alamo when I was a kid. I'm like, that's pretty funny. And the three-way gunfight at the peak of artistry and tension. Oh yeah. I like that. Oh yeah, I don't mind watching long movies. I'll watch a long movie. I got a pretty decent attention span if I have other stuff I can do. All right. Oh, by the way, if you guys are in that, if you're in the Excalidraw, when I disconnect, you won't lose your session. You guys will still have yours, and then you can just copy them if you want. But all this stuff here with SSH and S-Trace and stuff, I am planning on making a lab on that. I just haven't gotten around to it. That's funny. Hayes, I think I had to turn down Nightbot a while back, like years ago, because in fact, this is how Robodom became a mod. He would just be hanging out in the channel, and he'd be sitting there talking, and I'd be talking back to him, but it would look like he was kind of talking a lot, and then Nightbot would just be like 400 messages deleted from Robodom. So I had to like tune Nightbot down, but it would still like just like kick like all of his messages out every now and then. So then I made him a moderator so that so that the Nightbot couldn't mess with him anymore. You remember that, Robodom? He'd just be hanging out and we'd be talking for a while, and then it would just like say hundreds of messages over the last. It wouldn't say over the last hour. It would just say like hundreds of messages deleted from Robodom, and it would be like two other people in chat talking, and then it'd be like me talking with Robodom, and then it would just delete all of his messages. It was actually kind of funny. So we'd always talk about the power trips that the Nightbot would go on, and then we had to give that was we had to have like an intervention against Nightbot to stop, because I was like, Robotom's gonna stop coming if this thing doesn't stop. I think it was even timing him out, but it was just because Nightbot can be a terror if you let it, because it's an admin in your server. If you guys ever let Nightbot run and play songs and stuff like that and read stuff out of chat, it's an admin. So you gotta dress accordingly, basically, and it would always go and it and Robodom would be at war with each other. So that was kind of funny. He'd be down in the Discord talking because he couldn't talk anymore. It happened a few times in a row, so then I just made him a mod. I was like, whatever. It can't stop them if they're both mods. So, all right. Yeah, let's go find somebody to raid. We probably got somebody fun on. I think if you guys haven't ever seen Harold, we'll go raid Harold because his stuff, it's fun. Let's see what he's doing over there. What's he working on? Oh yeah, leak code for. We'll go to Harold because Harold he tends to be in like makers and crafting. So we'll go raid over to him. I see him with like some screwdrivers and some pens. So we'll go over there and raid him. Remember our message, if you want to do a message, is do all the Linux. And I appreciate you guys coming by. I will see some of you guys later on this week. Take care.